Now, if you watch the polls, you should know something about all of these polls, because how many of you have actually got a polling call on your cell phone? Any of you? Oh, we got two here. That should tell you something. All of these polls are counting on all of you not showing up on election day, not voting early today. It's in their model. As they go into an off-year election, they have written you off. They think that you're not important and you're not going to show up and pull the lever for anybody. Are you going to prove them wrong?
Yeah!
You have the power to completely swing these elections one way or the other. And you are a population that the polls and oftentimes some of the parties have not paid attention to. And I'm here to tell you that your decision will make or break this election. Because if you turn out and vote, when we're dealing with these races that are right up the middle, you make all the difference. And if all of you vote early, even better yet. I would ask all of you to take advantage of the early vote site here, because not only when you vote early, you don't have to vote at the exact precinct where you're registered. So if you vote early, if you live in the Northeast Heights, if you live in Moriarty, if you live in the South Valley or the West Side, you can vote here while you're voting early, and then you can go to work and volunteer on election day. Find somebody who inspires you. Find somebody who's doing the right thing for what your interests are, and go to work for them on election day and make it happen. It is really my honor to introduce somebody who is a long-time advocate for higher education. And we can't say that about everybody in the governor's race this year, but I don't have any qualms about saying it about Diane Denich, because she has stood up for our students from pre-K to postgraduate for years, year in and year out. She understands the challenges of education in New Mexico. She's been an advocate for putting more resources and smarter resources into our public education system. And it is my deep honor to introduce the next governor of the state of New Mexico, Diane Denich.
Thank you, Congressman Heinrich. Isn't he a great congressman? And you know, speaking of great candidates, I want to acknowledge Judge Robles, who's here. Judge Robles is running to be reelected to the appeals court. We need to get out and support him, and thank you. He's been a great supporter all along the way. I am really glad to be here. Guess what? I'm a Lobo. Let's hear it for the Lobos. I'm kind of waiting for basketball season, though. You know, I'm kind of waiting for and girls basketball season. And I just want to, since we're got a lot of young people here, I wanted to announce that there's this rally for the future on Saturday, the 23rd at Teaquay Park. I think there's music, food, fun, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if you guys want to go, you want something to do on Saturday, go to this rally in Teaquay Park. It'll be a lot of fun. You know what? Did anybody watch that debate last night? Yeah! All right. Well, here's what we know. My opponent, Susana Martinez, every single time she's going to come down on the side of cutting public education. She's going to take money out of education and put it into wealthy private schools, and she doesn't have any plan to fund higher education either. That should be important to you all, because here's where your future's being built every single day, is in higher education. So we had a good debate last night, a spirited debate. But here's some other things we learned about her. She's in favor of this, the big corporations. The big corporations. How do we know that? Look where our money's coming from. Follow the money every single time. $800,000 from the state of Texas. $500,000 from one billionaire Houston, Texas developer. She doesn't like being called a Tejana, but you know what? She's a Texan with Texas money, Texas politics, and a Texas style. And that's all bad for New Mexico. All bad for New Mexico. Because here's what she said. She wouldn't close the out-of-state corporation big tax loophole. She wouldn't close that loophole. It would bring in $70, $80, $90 million a year to New Mexico. We have a budget deficit. We not only need to tighten our belt and be smarter in state government, we need to make sure that we're looking for every single source of revenues. These big out-of-state corporations, here's what they do. They shield their profits by taking advantage of this tax loophole. They shield their profits. So when we're talking about closing the budget gap, why are we going to balance the budget on the backs of New Mexico small businesses and families? Why don't we make sure that they pay their fair share? That they pay their fair share. Every other state around us gets the fair share from those out-of-state corporations. We need to get our fair share too, don't you think?
Right.
Yep. And here's the next thing we learned. That she's told these corporations and the powerful oil and gas industry that she would roll back the regulations. First she said all the regulations, then she said, well, maybe not. Maybe just some of the regulations. It's kind of like where she was on vouchers. First she said, I'm for vouchers, then she said, I'm not. Last night, we finally pinned her down on that out-of-state tax loophole. But rolling back the regulations for us should be unacceptable. And here's why. Rolling back the regulations means this. Corporations can run wild. They're going to have their way. You know, she has a new ad up, and it's called Level the Playing Field. You know what that means? It means bringing a bulldozer in and leveling over New Mexico families and businesses, plowing right over them every single day. That's what it means. That's what leveling the playing field is all about for her. Rolling back regulations rolls back regulations on predatory lending. People that charge 600, 800, 1,000% for families in New Mexico. Now, who is that? People used to think, oh, that's just about people that don't have any money. That's not true. It's about students like you. It's about people that go get a little payday loan or a title car loan to make ends meet. It's about business people who may need to do a little something and they just don't have the business they want. It's about people that may need to pay their mortgage. It's about the elderly woman that I met in southeastern Albuquerque who got a payday lender, came and said, let me lend you the money to put the new security on your house now that you've been widowed. And now she's losing her house because a payday lender took hold of her. And she's having, her children are having to fight that in court. That's who those payday lenders are. But I hope you heard this too. She's on the big side of corporations. I'm on the side of New Mexico families. I'm on the side of New Mexico children. I'm on the side of New Mexico businesses. And how do you know that? Let me just say, while my opponent is saying, let's take money out of public education and put it into private schools, here's what I'm saying. Let's fund education and let's invest in education, early childhood education, after-school programs, school-based health centers, community colleges, and higher education. Let's invest in education. And while you heard that she said, let's roll back the regulations, you heard me saying, let's protect our land, our air, and our water in New Mexico. Let's protect our land, our air, and our water. And she gets a little gruffy, you know, when we talk about all that Texas money that we're getting, that she's getting from those big developers over there, $800,000. And I heard since that report she's been back to Houston gathering up more money. And some of those people are already in land and water disputes with the state of New Mexico. Some of those people are already in land and water disputes. One of them trying to drain a bunch of water out of, is in multitude of water issues. The Rio Grande, the Pecos, all kinds of things. We cannot let that happen. Water is the new gold. Water's the new gold. If we don't have water, and if it's not clean, safe, and affordable, we won't have an agricultural community. We won't have an economic development plan. We won't have responsible business people who come here to create jobs and use less water, not more water. We have to preserve New Mexico's resources. And so what you have is a clear choice. Somebody who will stand with them, the big corporations, and somebody who will stand with you. I believe in New Mexico. I'm a native New Mexican, and I'm proud of it. I was born in Hobbs, and I came up here to the university. I got an opportunity to live in Farmington. I've lived in Santa Fe. I've had all kinds of wonderful opportunities to adventure around New Mexico. As an office holder, I've had traveled to every single community in this state. making sure that I was listening to New Mexicans. I didn't just show up in 2010 and start talking to people. I've been doing it all of my life. And here's what we've done. First of all, we created opportunities for small businesses to get microloans in the state of New Mexico. 2,000 small businesses have had that opportunity over the last 5 years. And I think we should reinvest in microlending. Some of you are going to want to be entrepreneurs. Some of you are going to want to be small business people. We need to make it possible for you to live your dreams. Secondly, we did invest in early childhood. We invested in education, and we need to do more of that. Because I see New Mexico as a place to build. We need to build a community where small businesses can thrive, and our old industries and the new clean energy economy can be shoulder to shoulder. A New Mexico where our kids can grow up and graduate from high school or college and start a career here in New Mexico, the state that we love. And build a New Mexico where corporations can't run roughshod over our families and take advantage of our families. And build a New Mexico where we honor and respect diversity. Diversity of culture. That's right. We have a multicultural state. That we honor people's, that we defend and honor people's basic civil rights in New Mexico.
Yeah.
My opponent, she spent 24 years putting people in jail. She doesn't know how to put anybody in a job. Let me tell you that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on putting people in jobs for the next 4 years and creating jobs for those people to take. That's what we're going to do. Now, we're here today to ask you to vote early. I did it myself just a few hours ago. And I was proud to do it, and I had some of these young people here. And if you're here and you haven't voted, we want you to vote now, today. And here's why. Because when Election Day rolls around, we want all of you out there helping us find those people that haven't yet voted. Remember 2008? Who remembers 2008 here? Who was a voter in 2008 around here? Okay, remember what the great thing was in 2008? Why did we vote? Because we believed in our future. We believed in our dreams. We believed in the opportunity of the future. Remember that? My opponent, here's what she wants. She wants you to vote your anger and your fears. Well, you know what, you guys? I'm going to come down on the side of hope and opportunity and a vision for the future, and I need you to help us do that. Will you go vote today? Will you get out there and vote? Will you make sure that you're helping getting other people out there to vote? Will you help us win this election? Brian Colon and Diane Dennis, we want to lead New Mexico into the future, and we're going to do that with your help. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.